Priyanka Chopra's journey reveals how silence can be your most powerful weapon. She learned to turn inward rather than outward when facing challenges, controversies, or transitions. Whether it was navigating the complexities of moving from Bollywood to Hollywood or adapting to new cultures and criticism, she didn't feed the noise. She shielded her energy from unnecessary judgment and noise, allowing her inner strength to grow. Her silence gave her the space to process, rebuild, and reemerge stronger each time, proving that when you're not distracted by others' opinions, you become unstoppable. There comes a moment in every successful person's life when silence becomes more powerful than speech, when privacy becomes more valuable than praise, and when peace outweighs the noise of attention. Priyanka Chopra is one such woman who has mastered this rare art, the art of protecting her privacy to fuel her power. In a world where oversharing is the norm and validation often comes from the number of likes and comments, Priyanka stands tall. Not by revealing everything, but by holding certain pieces of her life sacred. Her success, both personal and professional, is deeply rooted in discretion. She doesn't know the world her vulnerability in real time. She shares what she chooses to when the time is right. And only then, from her transition from Bollywood to Hollywood, to her high-profile marriage to Nick Jonas, to becoming a mother, she has shared glimpses but never given away the whole picture. Why? Because Priyanka Chopra knows something the world is just beginning to realizing: privacy is power. Every success story has its battles. But Priyanka doesn't shout her struggles from rooftops. She turns them into lessons, and those lessons into legacy. By protecting her personal boundaries, she preserved her energy for the battles that matter. The fight to break barriers as a woman of color in Hollywood. The fight to stand her ground in a cutthroat industry. The fight to be respected as more than just a beauty queen. Privacy allowed her to listen to her own voice when the world screamed its opinions. It gave her space to breathe, to fall, to rise again, without judgment, and more importantly, it kept her real, authentic, grounded. This is a woman who has mastered the delicate dance of public influence and private intention. She doesn't react to every headline. She doesn't chase every trend. She moves with clarity and confidence. And that, right there, is why she stands out, not just as a celebrity, but as a force. True power lies in being able to walk away from attention, to say no without explanation, to build silently and let the results speak. Priyanka Chopra embodies that truth. She's not successful because she's everywhere. She's successful because she's selective. And that selectiveness has made her unforgettable. So if you're out there wondering whether you should explain yourself, defend your choices, or showcase every part of your journey, remember this: you don't owe anyone access to your soul. What you protect grows stronger. What you nourish in silence shines louder. Like Priyanka Chopra, dare to build in silence. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. And when the time is right, let your success speak for itself. In a world constantly chasing visibility, there's an uncommon power in choosing silence over spectacle. Priyanka Chopra exemplifies that power in the way she has handled her rise to fame and success across continents. Her story isn't just about talent or timing. It's about a deep-rooted strength that comes from within, the kind that can only be built when you're not consumed by external noise. Her ability to keep certain parts of her life private has allowed her to cultivate inner strength that doesn't rely on approval, applause, or attention. When she was crowned Miss World in 2000, the spotlight found her instantly, and with that came public scrutiny, media pressure, and industry expectations. But from the very beginning, Priyanka made a choice: not everything about her would be for the world to see. Some parts of her journey, some battles, some vulnerabilities would remain hers alone. That conscious decision to maintain boundaries in a boundaryless industry was not just self-protective. It was strategic. Because in silence you can hear your own voice better, and that voice becomes your compass when the world is trying to pull you in 100 different directions. Priyanka has faced criticism, cultural biases, career highs and lows, and immense personal transitions. Yet through it all, she didn't turn every moment into a public display. She didn't let her pain become clickbait. She didn't let her confusion become a trending topic. Instead, she paused, processed, and rebuilt quietly, away from the noise, away from the eyes, and away from the pressure to explain herself. It is in this silence that true strength is built. Because when you are not performing for the world, you're doing the real work, the inner work, the healing, the learning, the growing. Priyanka's journey from Indian stardom to international recognition was filled with invisible struggles. Adapting to new industries, being typecast, facing racism, and battling self-doubt. But those struggles didn't break her because she didn't let them define her. She turned inward, relied on self-belief, and kept moving forward even when no one was watching. That kind of internal resilience cannot be developed in the glare of constant exposure. It grows in stillness, in solitude, in the moments when the world isn't clapping for you. And you keep going anyway. Privacy, for Priyanka, has not been about hiding. It's been about preserving. Protecting her spirit from unnecessary commentary. Guarding her energy from being depleted by superficial judgments. By choosing what to share and what to keep sacred, she has maintained control over her story. And in doing so, she has built a foundation so solid that no external opinion can shake it. Inner strength is not about shouting your power. It's about quietly knowing it's there. And Priyanka Chopra walks through the world with that silent knowing. She doesn't need to prove her worth. She's already convinced herself of it. And that's the kind of self-assurance that cannot be faked. Many people confuse fame with strength. But they are not the same. Fame is visible. Strength is invisible. And while the world praises visibility, the wise focus on building what isn't seen. Because that's what lasts. Priyanka's legacy is not just in the roles she plays or the brands she endorses. It's in the example she sets for women and girls who are told to always be open, available, and public. She proves that you don't have to give the world all of you to be respected. You can hold parts of yourself back, your struggles, your heartbreaks, your plans, and still rise. Her silence isn't emptiness. It's presence, it's depth, it's maturity. She has shown the world that mystery isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And in a culture that rewards oversharing, she has chosen to stay rooted in her truth, not the narrative others create for her. That truth has given her the courage to pivot, to take risks, to reinvent herself time and again. Because when your identity isn't built on public approval, you're free to evolve without fear. You're free to fail, to experiment, to take the long route, and to rise again, stronger each time. This kind of strength is the rarest kind. It doesn't need validation, it doesn't seek permission. It simply is. And that is the power of privacy. It allows you to be whole without being seen. It gives you space to feel without being judged. It teaches you to trust yourself when the world doubts you. Priyanka Chopra is living proof that you don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be true. Even if the truth is known only to you. In an era where attention is currency and sharing every detail of life seems to be the fastest route to relevance, Priyanka Chopra has shown that true focus and clarity come from protecting your peace. Her journey is a testament to the idea that success doesn't require constant exposure, and in fact, some of the most significant growth happens away from the spotlight. By choosing to guard her private life, Priyanka preserves something even more valuable than fame: her mental clarity. It's this clarity that has allowed her to make sharp decisions, reinvent herself repeatedly, and remain aligned with her purpose rather than being swayed by public expectation. When you're constantly under the microscope, your vision gets blurry. You start reacting instead of creating. You start managing perception instead of building purpose. But Priyanka did the opposite. She filtered the noise. She narrowed her focus. She became the architect of her own life, one thoughtful decision at a time. This clarity wasn't accidental. It was the result of conscious effort. A choice to live intentionally and invest her energy where it mattered most. For someone balancing a career in two of the most demanding industries, Bollywood and Hollywood, this kind of focus was not just a luxury. It was a necessity. When she moved to the West and started working in Hollywood, the shift wasn't seamless. She faced rejection, cultural disconnects, and the challenge of reintroducing herself to an audience who didn't know her legacy. It would have been easy to get distracted, to try to appease everyone, to fight every opinion and explain every move. But she didn't. She remained focused. She knew that trying to win everyone's approval would drain her energy and derail her mission. So she chose to stay silent on unnecessary matters and work tirelessly on what would actually move her forward. In protecting her peace, Priyanka created a space where her creativity could thrive. She wasn't caught up in defending her choices or reacting to the media narrative. Instead, she focused on delivering excellent performances, building meaningful relationships, and growing her business ventures. This kind of peace isn't passive, it's active. It takes strength to not get involved in every conversation about you. It takes maturity to not respond to every rumor. And it takes vision to look past temporary noise and stay locked in on the long game. That is exactly what Priyanka did. She didn't just chase fame, she chased legacy. Her approach to fame is not reactive but strategic. She understands that not every battle is worth fighting, not every opinion is worth entertaining, and not every moment needs to be publicized. She has spoken about how she limits her exposure and how she doesn't allow social media to dominate her emotional space. She posts what she wants to, when she wants to, and never feels pressured to put her personal moments on display for validation. This boundary, this discipline, is what keeps her mind clear and her intentions pure. It allows her to work with excellence, to step into roles that demand depth and authenticity, and to lead with confidence rather than insecurity. The focus she gains from this piece extends beyond her work. It shows up in her relationships, in her values, and in her growth as a woman. When she became a wife and later a mother, she didn't use those life changes as publicity tools. Instead, she protected them fiercely. The arrival of her daughter was a deeply private and emotional journey, and Priyanka guarded that experience until she was ready to share it with the world. Not when the world demanded it, but when it felt right for her. This is the power of being in control of your story. When you guard your peace, you also guard your power. You ensure that no one else gets to define you. You ensure that no external force gets to influence your decisions. And in doing so, you give yourself the best possible chance to succeed. Not just once, but over and over again. Priyanka's ability to block out the noise has allowed her to be incredibly intentional about the kind of work she does, the people she surrounds herself with, and the messages she represents. Whether it's playing a strong character on screen, building a brand rooted in clean beauty, or telling global stories through her production house, her focus has remained crystal clear. None of this could have been possible if her energy was constantly being leaked into areas that didn't serve her. She doesn't argue with the world. She lets her work answer the questions. She doesn't rush to explain. She lets results do the talking. And she doesn't dilute her vision. She refines it through solitude and self-awareness. The truth is, in a world full of distractions, protecting your peace is a radical act. It is a statement that says your dreams matter more than their opinions. Your mission matters more than their noise. And your joy matters more than their validation. Priyanka Chopra's journey reminds us all that if we want to create something truly extraordinary, we have to be willing to shut out the ordinary distractions. We have to be willing to say no. Not just to others, but to the parts of ourselves that crave constant attention. Because peace is not just the absence of noise. It's the presence of purpose. And when you find it, everything else falls into place. Respect is not demanded, it is earned. And often it's earned not by how much you say, but by how wisely you choose to stay silent. In the case of Priyanka Chopra, her journey toward respect and admiration on the global stage hasn't been built on revealing everything about her life, but on the power of selective sharing. She has mastered the art of revealing just enough to connect with her audience, yet keeping her soul protected behind the curtain of privacy. In doing so, she has shifted the narrative around what it means to be a powerful woman in the spotlight. She didn't follow the trend of constant self-disclosure for likes or sympathy. Instead, she understood the true power of mystery, dignity, and timing. When a person controls what parts of their life they share and what they keep sacred, they create a boundary. That boundary demands respect. Not only from the outside world but from within. Priyanka Chopra's journey is not one without challenges. From being underestimated because of her skin color and accent, to navigating a male-dominated film industry, to breaking into Hollywood where diversity was once a token gesture, she faced it all. And yet, she did not use every challenge as a public statement or a battle cry. She often reflected, waited, acted, and later chose the right platform to speak about her experience. This kind of restraint is a strength. It shows emotional maturity and a deep understanding of influence. She didn't air grievances for applause. She waited until she had clarity, then shared her experiences with the intent to uplift others, not to seek validation. That's why her words have weight. When Priyanka speaks, people listen. Because they know she's not performing, she's choosing to open up with purpose. Selective sharing also allowed her to protect the people she loves. Her family life is something she has always approached with quiet strength. Whether it was her romance and eventual marriage with Nick Jonas or the birth of their daughter Malti, she kept these moments shielded from the cues of the media. She didn't capitalize on her personal milestones. She honored them. That distinction makes all the difference. In an industry where personal life is often sold for publicity, Priyanka's ability to draw that line has made her a woman of substance. It signals to the world that there are parts of her that are not for sale. Parts that are sacred, human, and grounded. This integrity inspires respect. It shows that success doesn't have to come at the cost of intimacy or authenticity. By not oversharing, Priyanka has also given space for her achievements to shine on their own. Her work speaks louder than her personal life. Her acting roles, her production ventures, her brand-building efforts. They all stand tall because they are not overshadowed by a constant hunger for public attention. She lets her performances, her business moves, and her growth tell the story. She has created a brand around excellence, not exposure. This gives her an undeniable credibility. Whether she's on a global platform, in a business meeting, or giving an interview, she carries herself with the assurance of someone who doesn't need to prove her worth. Because her results already do that. There's also something deeply empowering about the way Priyanka uses her platform. When she chooses to speak on issues like gender equality, representation, or identity, it's clear that she's not just filling airtime. She's speaking from a place of lived experience and deep thought. Her decision to not speak on everything allows the things she does speak about to land with more power. This contrast is what makes her voice so impactful. She's not everywhere, so when she is present, people pay attention. She has cultivated a presence that commands respect not through volume but through value. And that's a rare quality in today's overexposed digital culture. Another reason her selective sharing earns respect is because it teaches others to set boundaries. She's setting an example for young women, professionals, and creators around the world that you don't give away your entire life story to be relevant. You can still make a mark, break records, and build empires without handing over every piece of your identity to the public. In fact, by holding some things back, you gain something much more powerful: self-respect. And when you respect yourself, the world learns to respect you too. Her life is a living lesson in leadership. Not the loud kind that demands a stage, but the quiet kind that builds legacy. She isn't chasing virality, she's chasing vision. Every time she chooses silence over spectacle, class over controversy, and depth over drama, she's reminding the world that dignity still matters. And in doing so, she has become not just a celebrity, but a role model. She doesn't beg for attention. She earns it. She doesn't fight to be heard. She waits until she has something real to say. That kind of wisdom, restraint, and intentionality is what separates those who are briefly famous from those who become timeless. Priyanka Chopra has chosen the path of respect. And through that choice, she has become a woman worth listening to, worth learning from, and worth admiring.